Hi, this is my third video on the Atari 8-bit computer. I'll be covering some hardware and software for upcoming episodes in Berzerk, Crystal Castles, Mario Brothers, Popeye, and Bruce Lee. I'll be having 4 videos that were directly captured first. Those are going to be Berzerk, which you can see here, and that is actually a prototype, I believe, that was never actually released when it came out for the Atari 400, 800 as the prototype. I think the voice came out of the speaker, I think. This version, it comes out of the speaker of the TV. And when I say the speaker of the 400, 800, I'm talking about the internal speaker. This game was originally released by Stern in 1980 in the arcade. After that, we'll be playing another game which is pretty fun. Not necessarily in this order, but Crystal Castles by Atari. And that's from 1987, and it was released by Atari in 1988. That's also based on a prototype, but this one was released for the Atari XE as I think a game that only was released for the XE XL home video game system, but of course those can be played on the earlier systems. I'm also going to be playing the XL XE version of Mario Brothers. I don't think this had an official release for the Atari 8-bit line, maybe it did, but it definitely came out for the Atari 5200 game console, which I remember seeing pictures of this in magazines back in, like, say, 1983 or something like that, in like an Atari age, and I thought it looked just like the original arcade game. I couldn't tell the difference, but of course it didn't, and this version that I'm playing here looks much better than the 5200 version. This was released. I'm also going to be playing, did I say Crystal Castles? I think I did. Popeye. This was released in 1982 by Nintendo. It's known and it's well known that originally Donkey Kong was supposed to have been like some sort of a Popeye game. But it was, Nintendo eventually did get the rights and released this in the arcade in 1982. And Parker Brothers released this for the Atari and various other systems. It came out on the Atari. I think it was a cartridge and some other forms. I think, I'm not trying to be an expert here, but it came out in 1983. I used to play this on my Commodore 64 all of the time. I thought it was fantastic. And up here we have Crystal Castles now. One of the things I did want to do is I wanted to have some feedback, and I have some feedback that I'm going to get to by my friend Chris, and I think it's some great feedback that he sent to me, both for my TI videos and for my few Atari videos that I've had so far. But I'm only going to cover his Atari feedback here. I don't know if normally people cover feedback on like videos, but it's something people do nearly all of the time in podcasts, and I think I'm going to do it at least a little bit here, mostly because I know Chris. He's been a friend of mine since the mid-'80s, and we used to play games that we gave each other when we were freshmen in high school, so that was in like 86, and then when we became friends again, or caught up with each other again in mid-90s, we played a lot of video games together. I had a good time doing that, and I think I need to go grab my feedback from Chris and get it ready so I can read it here. You can check out this video with its sound. I've got some issues with, not issues that are not working, but I'm just not used to doing this, and I want it to sound great and all that. But Quinn again has inspired me, Quinn Tech Retro, to get these videos out at least once a week. Otherwise I'd probably never get them done. So thanks again, Quinn. You're a lifesaver there, because otherwise I would just fret over every little possibility of going wrong and not sounding right, and it ain't ever going to sound right because I don't have the skills to make that happen. But I think I have some skills to make it fun to listen to and fun to watch. These games that I'm playing here, I only played once and very briefly, so that's why it looks kind of like this. This is the feedback from my buddy Chris++. He sent this to me October 24th, 2020, after watching, I think, just my first Atari 8-bit video, maybe my second one. He writes, I watched the first Atari 8-bit video and, of course, enjoyed it thoroughly. The 130XE is indeed a great computer, one of Atari's gems. I love the 800XL you gave for me from Ernie's collection, and that's the collection I've been going through and that I inherited from my friend within the last couple of years. Your film makes me want to get out that stuff and play a bunch of the games in the carts you made for me. It's cool that you mentioned us meeting John Harris in 1998, and he's talking about when we met John Harris, the person who wrote a couple of games for the Atari, at the World of Atari in 1998. And since the week in 2011 or 12 when we both decided to play Bounty Bob Strikes Back and see how far we could get separately, and you discovered that you can steer in midair. I've loved that sequel just as much as the first game. Consider that controlling Bob in midair occurred at least 2 years before Mario becoming Super. Actually, I think I've said that about Frostbite as well. They both came out in '83. I wonder which one was first. Let's see. Chris goes on to say, I agree that the Oil's Well is far superior to Anteater. Just as a tip, you can pick up the flashing chalices for bonus points by colliding with them backward, i.e. while retracting so that you can back into them. Oil's Well was one of the first games you showed me from the floppies you gave me along with everything else in the Christmas of 1997. And Encounter was another one. And these are all games that I played in a previous episode. Let's see. I'm happy to see that you're finally showing off your Atarimax compilations. I'm glad that you enjoyed making these videos. They're extremely fun to watch, and again, I feel like we're hanging out. Chris++'s second feedback says, I watched the O'Reilly's Mind video. Before I saw it earlier this evening, I hadn't realized that it was the one you made for me, so thanks for that. You played well. I've enjoyed O'Reilly's Mind ever since I first played it. From again, one of the discs you gave to me, along with the 130XE, 24 years before you made this video. The game combines action and puzzle elements very effectively. More puzzle than action if you think about it. Datasoft really tended to knock it out of the park on both Atari and Commodore computers. Between this game, Bruce Lee, Zorro, and others, as well as the superb translations of Moonshuttle, Mr. Do, and Puyin, I consider the company to be right up there with the likes of Broderbund and Marcofun. I'd say Epics as well, but the sheer number of Epics software titles might defeat the purpose of any analogizing. If I could only speak. Master of the Lamps is impressive as well, largely because of graphics and sound. The gameplay is very, very basic, but if you want to be amused at how the first stage was reused in Aliens, and also by Activision, play that for a couple of minutes or watch it on YouTube. It may be the only Commodore 64 game. Or it may only be in the Commodore 64 game. Additionally, as you probably already noticed years ago, that first stage is a distant but pretty direct precursor to the bonus rounds in Tempest 2000. I'm enjoying these videos, and great work, man. Well, for the rest of the video, I'll just give some commentary. What I want to do in the future is give commentary while I play the game, but while I could kind of get that to work, it wasn't working to my satisfaction. And, you know, I've got quite a bit of time ahead of me to try to get that to work. Right now I'm listening with headphones on, and I'm watching as I'm trying to collect the turtles and things like that. I don't get too far in this Mario game. I've never been very good at it. I do remember playing with a friend of mine named Gil back in the 80s, about maybe 87, 88. He got an Atari 5200, and man, we were trying to play it with those analog controllers, and it was just awful. But it did work. Let's see here. So the sound effects are pretty good. This is not the version, like I said earlier, that I played in the Atari 200. This one looks better. In fact, if you get pretty far into it, it has a lot of the elements of the game. And like it tells you how to play it. So who needs instructions, right? Sometimes I've heard that people who aren't too familiar with the library of the Atari and originally played these games on the Atari think that, you know, this Mario game came out first in the Atari, not by Nintendo. At least they thought that back in the 80s, which I think is pretty amusing. Well, that's my game over for my Nintendo version of Popeye, and now finally I'm going to be... What I meant to say was that was the end of my Mario Brothers game. You know, I usually re-record and make things... I'll try to make things better. They're never great, but I'm just not going to be able to do that anymore to be able to keep up with Quinn. Like, I start looking at these things and I'm like, oh, that's wrong, that's not right, the sound quality is not great, and the sound quality is not going to be great until I figure out how to do that a little bit more, and not, I guess as I play. So let me give you some, not tips for this game, but I'll tell you what's going on in Popeye. So the point of Popeye is you start off... Right, I had to turn down the sound just a little bit there. It was way too loud in my ears. Still a little bit loud, and it's very distracting to hear it directly in my ears, but it's either too loud or not loud enough. And I'm tired of fussing around with the audio levels. So basically, the Sea Hag is in this game, Bluto is in this game, Olive Oil's in this game, and of course we've got Popeye. Popeye is one of my favorite cartoon characters. I've seen all of the black and white Fletcher cartoons. If you haven't ever seen them, definitely try to pick them up on DVD. They were released, I don't know, 5-6 years ago on DVD, and they hadn't been available in a good format for decades, maybe ever. The color cartoons were some of my favorites as I was growing up, but they're just not as good. Those are by, Famous Studios. So watch the black and white ones, you'll like them. If you get a chance, there's a 5-volume set of Popeye that has all of the original Cigar comics that were printed in the newspapers. I believe they are probably the funniest printed comic from newspapers ever. And, you know, what's funny is people think of it as Popeye, but originally it was called Thimble Theater, and Popeye was just a character that was in there for, you know, maybe a week or 2 weeks, but for some reason his popularity exploded, and he became what the whole comic was designed around. And so it's pretty funny. If you get a chance, get those 5 collections. I got them through interlibrary loans, so I wouldn't have to pick them up. They're hard copies, and they're really funny. So what's going on here? I just knocked down a honey, I guess a beehive. Look, punch. All right. I love this game. I've also tried playing this one on the 5200, and it is horrible. I mean, it's the exact same game, but you have to play with the analog controller. And I remember I had working controllers. I mean, they had been rebuilt by Best Electronics in the mid-90s. And I tried playing this game, and I could not get Popeye to go up and down the steps. I mean, it was awful, like unplayable. The same thing with some other games, but there's some workarounds. And I actually had, I finished the first level. I actually get through the first 3 levels in this Popeye game. Don't get too far, but this is just my first game. So to my buddy Quinn, if you get a chance to play this one, see if you can't beat my score. This is my first game. But of course, I've played this game on and off since 1986 or so. I used to play it originally on the Commodore 64. Loved it there. And basically all you have to do is go around collecting on the first level. You collect hearts. On the second level, you collect these music notes because Olive Oil is singing. And on the third level, which takes place on a ship, you are collecting the words help. Well, you're collecting the letters from the word help. This thing that I like about this game is you can wrap around the screen here, but Bluto, or Brutus, depending on what this game uses for his name, I don't know what it does. He can't wrap around the screen. Oh, I do also want to note that this game looks a little dark. I'm doing direct capture for my FrameMeister, and it shouldn't look quite this dark, but it looks good. It's better than just pointing my camera at the screen, which is what I do later on when I'm playing Bruce Lee, and you can't even hear the sound. I've been fixing the sound, as I said, in post, and I'm really not sure. Normally I jack everything up to 100%, and then for my audio I bring it down to 70%, and I'm not sure what a good combination will be just for the sound effects. I can make them separate. Right now they're at 35%. I think it's too loud, so I might bring it down to 25% or lower. But I do want to have a good combination. If people are familiar with what makes like a good audio for the narration, like the volume, and then like the good volume for the sound effects and music, let me know. I mean, I wouldn't say this is all new to me, but I've never really tried to put so much effort into it and not put so much effort in it at the same time. I want this to be easy. I want it to be able to, so I can make at least one video a week. And I want to be able to have fun doing it and not have to think so hard about how it's going to be. So my video is going to be done in a minute or 2 here. Or not the whole video, just my 4 games that I'm playing: Berzerk, Crystal Castles, Mario Brothers, and Popeye, my direct capture versions. So now, as I said earlier, I'm going to be showing some of the games I've played. Maybe I didn't say earlier, but I'm going to show some cartridges that I want to feature in upcoming videos. Action, the Basic XL, Basic XE Star Raiders. I also show my MyIDE II, my Atarimax 1MB flashcards, my SIO2 USB, my SIO2 serial. I show a beer that I am drinking while I made this video. I show some controllers, my Slik stick, and my paddles. And I also show Morloc's Tower, a Dunjonquest game. I'm on the 3rd level, so that's good. And I show my SIO2 SD. Some of the stuff I've showed in previous videos, but I plan to feature it more. I list all 23 games that Quinn has played so far, and then I close out by playing Bruce Lee, and my video's done there. This video is, I think, going to be about 30 minutes, 35 minutes or something like that. If you have some feedback, leave it for me. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you give me a thumbs down, let me know why. Tell me if you have some suggestions. You know, I'm all for that. That's about it. I've got my spinach here, and I'm not going to last much longer, maybe another 30 seconds. But I really like this game, and it's one of my favorite games on the Atari and Commodore 64. And the arcade game looks just so great for a 1982 game. And I read once how they did it. It's like kind of a trick that they do with the hardware. I didn't understand it. But try playing it in MAME. But especially try playing this in on the Atari. And if you go to the Atari forums, I think you can search and find someone who made the graphics look a little better. I don't think they changed the gameplay. And I've tried it once, but it's basically the same game. So I don't know. It's I don't know how much it's worth playing, but here I go. I'm about to get killed. The sea hag is going to throw a bottle at me, and I'm going to get killed when I try to punch it because I don't quite time it right. Why am I telling you how I'm going to die? All right. So I hope you've enjoyed this much of the video. I feel kind of like it's not to my exactly how I want it, but as I've said, it's never going to be that much, or I'm never going to get it perfect. So, right, I'm about to get killed here. Here comes the bottle. Here it comes. I should be able to punch it, but I don't. All right, thanks for watching this part. This is my Atari 130XE. It's a standard system. It's an Atari 8-bit computer. And I'm making this video for my buddy Quinn, who requested me to cover the Atari, because that's what he's been covering in his series. This is what I'm going to cover in the next few episodes. I'll show you what they are. This is obviously my 130XE's TV output. It's composite. It's got a great picture. I can also do S-video out. But really what I'm going to end up doing, if you can see it back here, this is my FrameMaster. I'm going to be capturing most video, I hope, via my composite out, which actually won't look perfect, but it'll look okay. So I've got a, let's see, I think a 1 gigabyte compact flash card reader here. It's full of a whole bunch of ROMs. I've shown, I think, some of the stuff before. I've got a 1 megabyte cartridge, which holds about 20 games or something, and I've got 5 compilations that I've made for myself. Quinn, in his last video, made a homemade version of one of these. This is a SIO to USB. I use mine with a program called Ape, which is an emulator for a disk drive and some other stuff, but I usually use it for disk drives. I've got an old version of this which I bought many years ago, over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, something. This version is for the serial. This is for USB. All right, let's switch sides here, and I'm going to do close-ups of some of this stuff just so I can give you a better idea. Inside of this system, we have, of course, basic Atari Basic, just plain old Basic. Here I've got Basic XL, which is an improved version of Basic by OSS, and Basic XE, which is basically Basic XL with a couple extra features, such as being able to use the extra RAM of this 130XE, or any Atari 8-bit system that has extra RAM. You can compile your programs on here and get them to run. But I don't really have too much experience playing games that are written basically for Basic XL. I don't know how many were made, but some were. So I want to try some of those. And if any games were made for Basic XE, I'd like to try some of those. This orange cartridge here is a action cartridge. It's another language. I don't know how many games were written for this either, but I've got it, so I'm going to try it out. And finally, this is just a plain old Star Raiders cartridge. I actually have it on some of my other compilations, but this one I'm going to be using for, because my friend Rick showed me how to play it, and I showed that in a previous video, but I'm going to show it more in this one, or in an upcoming one. Here we've got a Slik stick. This is it's not my favorite controller, but it's one of my favorite controllers, and it wasn't working, and last week my friend Rick fixed it for me. It had some broken cables inside the cable. And this is my S-video cable, which gets a better picture, but I can't really take advantage of it with my FrameMaster, so I probably won't even use it. And then I've got my paddles. Maybe I'll play a game of Ping Boom or something like that. And that's about it. I'm going to do, one other thing. This is my SIO to SD, so this allows me to not have to use a computer to load programs from my floppy. And by the way, I do have working floppy drives, which I might use too in an upcoming episode. In fact, I've got 4 of them that were fixed by my friend Rick. I've got a 1050 with an upgrade called the US Doubler, which allows it to use double density. I've got 2 Indus GT drives. It'd be neat to see if I can find an upgrade for those, because the Indus GT drives can get an upgrade, which is quite rare. I don't know if there's a homebrew version of it, but it lets you run CPM. Other stuff I have in my collection, which I'm going to be showing maybe at some point, is additional hardware and things like that. But for now, we're going to concentrate on this. bare system, bare bones. I'm going to be playing some of the games my buddy Quinn played, and I'll cover them here. Alright, so next I'm going to do some close-ups and show you some of these things so you can see them a little bit better. Here's a close-up of those 4 cartridges that I said I would be using in upcoming episodes. Again, this is my basic XE cartridge. I think it's a 64K cartridge, something like that. I think back in the 80s these were called super cartridges, something like that. This is my basic XL cartridge. This will work in any XL machine. This will work in any XL and XE machine, but it won't allow you to use any of the additional features that are offered by the XE. And this might even work in an 800. I can't remember for sure. I think it can though. Action will work in any system. I like these orange cases. Of course, this is just a standard game. In fact, this one is one of the earliest games that came out for the Atari in 1979, maybe earliest 1980. All right, let's switch over and look at my other side here. And before I do that, let me just say, I don't have too much experience using, I've used all of this stuff here, these 2 or these 4 cartridges, but I haven't really programmed in this one, or this one. And I don't plan to be doing that anytime soon, especially with some issues I have with typing nowadays. But I will definitely try to load programs. So if you are aware of programs that are written for Action or Basic XE or Basic XL that are written exclusively for those languages, like especially games, that's what I'm most interested in playing and using, let me know. Well, put them in the comments. Thanks. This is my SIO to SD. So basically what I do is I plug in my SIO cable here, I plug in a USB cable here, and I hook it up to my computer, and I am able to load floppy disks and use some other features. I can actually print to my computer, and I think I might be able to use my computer as a modem and access the internet. I haven't actually used these features. I don't really need to because I don't print very much anymore. And if I want to, I'll do that under emulation. I can print to just directly to a file. And this one is the same thing. This is the one I had originally many years ago. It still works fine. It's for a serial input though, and I guess I do have some computers that have serial, but I wouldn't use it anymore. I would just use this USB one. This one is one I've shown in a previous program or a previous video, and in this one I have a whole bunch of games. This one has some of my favorite games, and this one has 1 gigabyte of storage. It's got probably 100, 200 games on it that I've wanted to play. You can store many, many, many more than that on here, but how many games can you possibly play in a week or month, a year, right? Especially if you're going to try to enjoy them. Maybe 1 or 2 games a week. What else we got here? I've got to show you maybe some of my other stuff. This video is brought to you via me, because I don't get any endorsements, by Bosky Brewing's Elephants on the Parade. I don't normally buy this by itself, but it came in the 12-pack of 4 different beers, and this is one of my wife's favorites, although she hasn't been drinking it much lately. A lot of people like this beer. If you get a chance to come to Albuquerque, try it out. I said this once before, and it turned out I ended up meeting someone who lives in Albuquerque, and we've hung out a few times now. So if you live in Albuquerque, leave some contents or leave something below in the comments, and I will say, hey, what's up? Maybe we can get together sometime. What else we got? Oh, and the music I'm listening to while I'm playing some of these games is going to be Frontline Assembly. As I pointed out just a little while ago, I'm going to be playing games that use mostly joysticks. This is my Slik stick. This is not my favorite controller, but my favorite one is my CX40, and mine works fine, but my CX40 has the fire button is a little unusual. It works, but I feel like I have to press a little harder than I need to for it to work. This one wasn't working. I bought it on eBay a couple years ago. Could never figure out what was wrong with it. Turned out I lent it to my friend Rick. Thanks, Rick. He fixed it for me. Turned out there were broken wires right here, and he opened it up and somehow soldered inside the wire. And that guy's an expert. So if you have a problem with a joystick and you know someone, get them to fix it, because these things, most of them don't go bad. I guess I don't know. I don't know how you can solder inside of a wire, but he did it. He explained how he did it, and it sounded complicated. And then of course there's the paddles. These have been rebuilt. I actually ordered quite a few years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. I ordered some pots from Best Electronics, an Atari dealer, which I don't know if they're still around, but we're going to be playing around with a couple games like this. Quinn, that's going to be cool. I'm showing this in a close-up again. First, I've got the original manual for a game called Morloc's Tower, which is sort of part of the Dunjonquest series, and if you've heard of Dunjonquest for the old 8-bits, the Temple of Apshai is part of that series. This is sort of a side shoot of this. This is a very rare game. In fact, only until about 7 or 10 days ago there wasn't a good dump of this game, and someone contacted me and said, hey, it's available now. And the Temple of Apshai series is one of my favorite, kind of a role-playing game, and so I'll be playing this one probably on the video, maybe not, but I just thought I'd show it that I have the original manual here. And if I play it, I'm going to be playing it with this. This is my SIO 2SD, and it's got a little, I think a 2 gigabyte little for the Atari, right? And this just plugs directly in and pretends it's a disk drive. And yeah, it works great. I love it. It's simple, very simple device to use. While there are many modern ways to load software into Ataris nowadays, I prefer simple stuff. This is simple. You put a program on here, click a couple buttons, you're done. You don't have to worry about software on another computer or anything like that. You're done. And then you can flip through the disks you want on here by pressing buttons up and down, and that's it. So I will be loading this game up on here. Maybe not this video, but in an upcoming one. I have poor lighting in this room, but it is what it is. You'll see the shadow of the tripod right here. I'm a little excited about this, so I'm going to give it one more second look and flip through it. The game is, like I said, is pretty rare. The art is interesting. This is the front, obviously. If you open it up, this is the back. It tells you what you're supposed to do in this game, which is slay a mad wizard in a fantasy quest, Morloc's Tower. And you play Brian Hammerhand, a brave but reluctant hero in a race to save the comely wench Melda from the fireballs of Morloc the Mad. You must survive deadly traps and attacks by inhuman monsters, puzzle out enchanted artifacts, and track down and slay an elusive wizard who can disappear at will if you want to survive Morloc's Tower. Anyway, it's made by Automated Simulations. They went on and changed their name, I think within a year of this being released, to Epix. And you might know them as for such games as Summer Games, Winter Games, many other games series like Summer Games 2, California Games, and many Jumpman, great games. Wonderful company. I'm going to flip through the manual just because I find this manual great. This game was designed by John Freeman and some others. There's this came out, I think, also for the Apple. I played that version. It does work. It doesn't look nearly as good as this one. This game came out in 1979, so it's an early one, really early. I think it came out in 79 for the Apple and 80 for the Atari. So it explains how to play the game. This is back when games used to come with actual manuals. Yeah, I'll do a close-up of this later when I play this game in an upcoming episode. I actually plan to dedicate an entire episode to this game, maybe more than one episode. But for now, I just wanted to show you a little bit about it. So we've got I don't think this one lets you play with a joystick or anything. And I don't want to dedicate too much time to this because it's probably not everyone's cup of tea. But it's got some art in it, not too much, and that's about it. And then there's some story behind it. So it says, The Adventures of Brian Hammerhand. It began as an orange shimmering in the air, like a mirage glimpsed in the desert. A moment later, the fireball was a miniature sun, painful to look upon and hot as the fires of hell. Well, what happens after that? I guess you have to play the game to find out. Or you can continue reading the story, which is 3 pages long, and it's pretty good. So that's it. I'm not going to concentrate at all on this game anymore, but I'm going to kind of, for the heck of it, zoom in a little closer to the picture, and or maybe even I'll just zoom in. What the heck? Why not? It's something to do. So there's the mad magician, I guess, and his genie. Alright, so up next, I'm not sure what I'm going to show you, but maybe I'll show you a game being loaded. This is just a random setup. I wanted to start a game that would actually work correctly and have an example of all the screens. This was a game that sold in England for, I think, 50 pence. It was practically free. It was written by a guy named Chris Murray, and even though it sold for not that much money, he made quite a bit of money, according to Retro Game Room. I'm going to let it play a couple times. It already kind of might be annoying. But I just wanted to read a little bit here. I wanted to also cover some feedback from my friend Chris. although we'll see what happens. First, I want to say I made a compilation of all the games my friend Quinn has made in his first 3 videos or so that he played games in, and I was shocked to discover he's played 23 different games, and I'm going to list them right now real quick. He played Archon, Archon 2, Attack of the Mutant Camels, Ball Blazer, Burger Chef, which is a basic game version of Burger Time. He played Boulder Dash 1, 2, and 3, Bruce Lee, Caverns of Mars, Centipede, Choplifter, the original one, not the remake for the XE, Encounter, Mega Mania, MyIDE 2049er, Missile Command, Montezuma's Revenge, Mr. Do, Muncipede, which is some weird version of Centipede that's free and written, seems to be written in BASIC, Nibbler, Oilswell, O'Reilly's Mine, Robotron 2084, and Vanguard. I think I'm going to choose one of those games this episode and play it, and we'll see whatever one is on my first disc. So let's shut this off. My computer is now off. Now my computer is on. And this is my first disc again. I'm going to zoom in the TV, and I was going to try to capture the video directly, but I think just for this one, I'm only going to zoom in and do it that way, just so I can give it a chance. I'm going to try to choose one of the games where I have a high score for him. If you see here, I printed out this stuff, and I have, let's see, a high score for Burger Chef, which I don't have. I have a high score for Boulder Dash 3, which I don't have on here. I might have Caverns of Mars on here. Yeah, I do. I'll play that one. Caverns of Mars, he has a score of 14,800. I'll give that one a try. Do I have Mega Mania on here? No. What else? Mr. Do, I don't think that's on here either. It'll be on the next screen if it is. I mean, I can get all these games quickly. I have Well as Well on here. I'm pretty good at that. And Robotron, I don't think that's on here either. In fact, I don't think I put any arcade games on any of my compilations because I figure I can play those on main. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to play... He's also played Ball Blazer, but that's not really a game you play for high score. Let's see, I could play Beam Rider. I don't think he's played that one yet. I will try playing... Let's see. I'll try playing... Not Shoplifter on this one either. I'll probably try playing Bruce Lee. It's a quick game. And in my next video, I'm going to play some more games, and I won't focus anymore on my computer setup. I might show you how I loaded a game via the SIO to USB, or I might play some more games on Cartridge. And I might also do some direct capture. But for now, be prepared for some fuzzy gameplay and maybe some talking. I'm going to be eating dinner here soon. My wife made a nice dinner. So this is going to wrap up probably quicker than I was hoping. Well, no, actually, I need to make these shorter so I can edit them properly and get them out on a timely basis, because Quinn is able to do it once a month or once a week. I'm sure I can manage that too. I just, it kind of is a pain for me to edit. But I'm going to zoom in on the screen and see what happens. Okay, once again, the screen is supposed to look purple, but it doesn't. I'm going to shut off the light and get to playing it. Does it look purple now? Nope, it still looks blue. On my direct capture, it'll probably look correct. That's what happens when it starts up. I might need to turn up the sound a little bit and get this right. Let's turn up the light, turn up the sound, and press start. And yeah, that looks approximately right. Doesn't look too bad, although you can probably see my reflection. Let's see how that looks. All right. Watch out, ninja! Alright, so the purpose of this game, which came out in the 1980s, I always called him the Green Sumo, is to get these lanterns so you can go into an area underneath. Man, this joystick is so good. I'm using my Slik stick. And I'm not going to go very far. I just want to get some footage here so I can show Quinn. Whoops. Not that I'm not any good at this game. But when you collect all the lanterns, you end up being able to go back here and go that little floor trap there. Oh, gee. You can play this with 2 people at once, which is kind of fun. But that little trap right below my feet will open up. And yeah, great animation in this game. There's been some go down the stairs. Come on, Green Sumo. You'll see me nollie run. Yay! Alright. Okay. I don't know how good the sound sounds in here. It's not too much noise. And watch out! Oh Yeah. I really love the short throw on this controller. Man, I'm rusty. Alright. Another good game. This is by Datasoft. Datasoft, I think, not Data East. And once you, another game that's kind of in line with this one, I feel, is Zorro. Another great game. Come on, sumo wrestler. Back in the 80s, I used to play this on my Commodore 64, and that was an okay game. I liked it quite a bit. I never could solve it, and I beat it since then, but I'm not sure that I'm not going to be able to beat it tonight, especially given my time constraints. Watch, I'm going to probably die before I get to do this. No, don't die. Okay, that's okay. I think now I can go to the first, or the middle screen. There's 3 screens. One all the way to the left, one all the way to the right, and one in the middle. And I think now I can go there and there'll be an opening in the floor. Yep, it just opened up. I don't know if you saw that. But now I can go down it and collect more stuff and get my butt kicked here, because that's what's going to happen. Yeah. I don't play for high score in this game, but zap. That's it, man. Man, it's terrible. Zap. Zapped again. Ooh, I made it. I like it that the ninjas and stuff can get zapped in this game. Okay. Can he reach me? I don't think so. So, come on, little guy. Man, I used to be... Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Okay. You're not going to see me get much further. Oh, I think I have one more guy, and that's it. Falls. 0. And that's it. Well, that wraps up my game. It also wraps up this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. The next video, I hope to feature more of the games that Quinn has been playing, and also I'm going to do some direct footage capture. Maybe I'll show Ape on the screen too, if I can figure out a way to do that. I've been enjoying your videos, Quinn. If anyone else wants to jump in and play some of these games that Quinn and I have been playing, please do. Especially Chris++, even though he'll kick our butt. Alright, hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you around next time.